evening, everyone. I'm your host, comedian, magician, Danny Whitson. But it's all tricks aside, because tonight we're turning the paranormal into the normal. Join me as we explore the gray areas of reality. We're going to talk all things paranormal, UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, and aliens, and see how it's all connected. This podcast is brought to you by the Experiencer Support Association, and we are live. So if you're an experiencer yourself, or you're just plain nosy, be sure to send me your question and subscribe to the podcast. Now, get ready, because it's going to get deep. No, really, we're going to go way out there, because this is Beyond the TinFoil Hat. What's happening, my paranormal junkies? Welcome to Beyond the TinFoil Hat, and I'm your host, comedian, magician, Danny Whitson. Guys, we got a good show for you tonight. Yes, we do. But first, I want to give a quick shout out. We are on Patreon now. That's right. So if you'd like to support the podcast, head on over to Patreon, theexperiencersupport.org, and support us on Patreon. All funds go towards to support Ryan Stacy's work on investigations, okay? And support the podcast as well, the website, everything that has to do with Tessa. We definitely need it. We appreciate your love. So head over to Patreon, show us some love. Also, we got some articles. Go over to the experiencesupport.org and check out. We got 3 new articles that Ryan Stacy put out. Check those out as well. But tonight's guest, let's get straight to it. Let's just get straight to this one. I've been looking forward to this one already. Got a chance to talk to her just a little bit here tonight. But she's a psychic medium and founder of Lala Bright LLC, where you can get personal readings and artistic creations. Let's welcome Lala Bright.
Thank you very much. I'm glad I'm here.
Well, I'm super excited because right off the bat, there's so many things. I want to talk to you about this. I want to talk to you about that. I want to talk to you about this.
It's a lot.
So, but before we begin, because we already got our viewers here ready to watch the show, if you don't mind, Lala, let them know a little bit more about you.
Okay. My father was a Reiki healer and a psychic. We shared a UFO experience, but he was terrified. He never talked about any of it, really. Just spirits he would talk about and things like that. I guess my first spirit experience, I was 5, and our neighbor, Grandma, we called her Grandma Cheyenne. She passed away. And we missed the funeral, so we went to go see her at the gravesite. And in Baltimore, there's this one place that has thousands of graves there. And so my parents went off one way, I went another, and I heard her in my ear say, "I'm over here." And she literally led me. I felt like I was led. And I put my hand on her grave, and I said she was here. And that's when my dad knew he had to start talking to me about like what we are and what we do. So he was really gentle. He was awesome, you know. My mom, she had a master's in psychology, and she didn't believe in any of this at all. So it was kind of very torn, you know. And I guess even before 5, I would always have dreams, regular dreams of me in the backyard of my home at night. And over me, there'd be a whole bunch of UFOs flying over slowly. And I had this maybe 20 times each year. And so years later, my dad was watching a UFO movie, and I go, "I know what those are. I dream about them all the time." So I think I've always been visited by lots of different things.
So this started out when you were just a little girl.
Yeah.
And you know, you had an experience that young that you can remember.
Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely.
So and now just to clarify, so and now you know your title is as medium.
Mm-hmm.
You also, like I said, you're into the UFOs. So it's basically like a lot of things paranormal in your life that you deal with. Now, how old were you whenever you realized that you had psychic abilities, that you could connect?
That's a good question. Maybe in my teens, I didn't know I was weird. I thought this was normal, you know? Um, but in high school, I used to start blurting out stuff to people on what they need to be careful about or someone who has passed that in their family. And I mean, it didn't go too well for most of my life, and that's why I hid who I was until recently, really. Um, but yeah, I would just blurt stuff out, and then I looked up and I talked to my dad more about it. He opened up. I remember one time I almost lost a job because I went to the boss and I said, "Is your ex-husband, does he play the violin?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Well, he's doing pretty bad. You might want to call him." And she got so scared. She called him, and he was really sick, like almost dying sick. And she almost fired me. So then I just shut down completely, you know?
Oh wow! Wow. Now, and how old were you when that happened? You said was this?
I think I was 25.
So you were into adulthood, into adulthood enough, when you got brave enough to probably give your first. That's got to be, and that has to be. That's something that I guess a lot of psychics and mediums don't talk about is how it's like you've got these things going on, and you're like, but someone's going to think I'm crazy if I talk about it or this, and then whenever you do finally get the nerves to share it, you can be shut down.
Oh, yeah. Because
So that's a crazy
I'm,
bummer.
oh, yeah, I'm super shy to begin with. So it was just an extra layer on top. But now I don't mind so much. And my boyfriend, he will go out and he goes, "By the way, she's psychic. Anybody working here want to read it?" Like, he's,
Yeah.
so I'm desensitized a lot, really.
Well, for me, it took me a while to, especially from my background, I'm a magician, so I know how to fake psychic readings or make it look like I've read your mind, but in reality, it's a trick.
Uh-huh.
And, there's a big, long history of, Houdini who hated psychics and all these things, and it's easy for people to get on one path of narrow thinking, but it wasn't until actually I did my own research and checked into these things. And then also I think, and found out that there's actually scientific methodly proven that people do have psychic abilities. This is proof that
Yeah.
science is there. CIA studies these people. This is real. And I always make a joke in my show about, it's like we all got that one crazy aunt, you know what I mean? So, but the thing is that there's some people that are able to tune in more than we've all had that one crazy thought and been like, holy crap, it happened,
Right.
or something. But I think there's people out there who are more in tune with that, like yourself.
Right.
People that have used that muscle, exercised it more, and so it's definitely a real thing.
I read eyes also. So if someone gets a reading from me on my website, or I'll give a free one if somebody really needs it that I meet out in public, I'll tell them, text me a picture of your eyes, because one side will show your outer self, and then there's the other side that shows everything you hide. And then I go past that. It's not just what you hide anymore. It's your health issues. And then it goes to your family that's alive and past. And then sometimes it goes to if you've been abducted by something else. I'll see. I might not speak to those types of beings at that point, but I'll see what happened. And the only thing it really does, it's validation for somebody. So a lot of people think they're crazy when they have an alien experience, or they don't understand why they have a new scar on their body or weird bruises. And I'll tell them where those things are on their body, and I won't be able to see it personally. So I guess it's healing in that sense, in a weird way.
Validation.
Right.
And I think it's a type of validation that proves like, hey, they're not crazy. That you're. And one thing that I like to throw this term I like to use is here on Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. We like to keep the paranormal normal. So there's no crazy, open mind, now. So and I do want to keep it, definitely on, with that. And anybody and the cool thing is like, Ryan gets reports of abductions or UFOs all the time, constantly. And one of the biggest thing is people need to feel safe and comfortable to be able to come to somebody and share that, because a lot of times you don't.
Right.
You know, and the crazy thing is like, if you don't follow this stuff, you don't realize how common it is.
Right. It's true.
And it's so common. And the you know how you were talking about, well, like, you know, people who this is something that I find interesting, because, you know, you talked about hearing like a spirit whenever you were a child,
Mm-hmm.
and then you talked about the UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
I used to I wasn't really big into mixing my crazies together. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna keep the peas over here, gonna put potatoes over here. We don't mix my food, you know. But no, I think all the UFOs and paranormal, even Bigfoot, I think all this stuff is somehow related, somehow on a conscious level. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand why. I don't have the damn answers. I don't know, but I think it's kind of related. So what do you think? I mean, being because you talked about, like, you've had visions and stuff. Any UFO experiences have you had, Lala?
Oh gosh.
Oh gosh, no, let's take the ride.
Well, first of all, where we're renting right now, it's near a military base. It's near the water, which is a big conductor. And I think there's something else going on because it's just extra active. We've seen a lot, and we've videotaped like the neighbor's roof lighting up, like a light crawling down and something flying above it and then disappearing. We've had an orb shoot down on the back porch. It goes into a shape of a head, shoulders, and neck, but it's light. I guess it's a light being, and it moves the heavy camera to where it wants us to look, because obviously I'm too dense to realize what they're wanting, you know. And then they light up the roof of where they pointed it, and this is all on video.
Oh, nice. Gosh, I wish you'd known we'd have had that tonight.
Oh, dude.
It'd be nice to see.
Well, you know, the good thing is you don't have to be my Facebook friend to see these videos and photos. They're open to the public, because we're kind of doing like a soft disclosure. We want people to see it's normal, it's real, it's here. The coolest experience I had with a UFO is I was getting coffee with my best friend, and we were parked, and we kept seeing these they looked like little fireballs shooting. We didn't know what they were really, but they kept coming and kept getting closer. So we're like, well, we don't want to die tonight, so let's just go home, you know. So we go to the back road, and all of a sudden there's this real big cloud. It was at night, and this helicopter flew by the cloud and put its spotlight on the cloud. And in the cloud, I saw this huge UFO, but only the bottom part. And it looked like a bunch of pipes intertwined with each other. But the pipes were so wide, they were as wide as the body of the helicopter. Like, this thing was massive. Wow. And I remember when I drove under it, it was so close that there was no longer sky anymore. It was just underneath of the craft. And then I don't remember going home or dropping her off. But I remember every detail about this. It was like black metal color. It was crazy. And then I knew that they could cloak themselves in clouds. I didn't know that before, you know?
I've heard that theory. Yes, I've heard that theory. And I mean, why not? I mean, what better way to, you know, camouflage yourself in this environment? Now, what's your theory on this? What do you think, though? Do you think they are like interdimensional beings, or do you think they are extraterrestrial from another world, another planet?
That's a good question. I have mixed feelings about it. I know they do come. We have video of them coming through portals, so they do travels that way. I honestly don't know. I think there's different realms. I don't necessarily think they're from different planets. I think they're from different realms, personally.
Gotcha. To me, that is, I kind of lean on that theory myself, you know. I mean, for one, not just because it's kind of proven through physics and science that, yeah, there are other dimensions, you know, that's a real supported theory. But I mean, it just seems to make more sense, you know, kind of, you know, how things seem to work. Now, with you're also familiar with the abduction side, though, too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, would you care to share maybe a story about that?
Sure. What I remember is before something happens, I'll remember what it looks like seeing large orange orbs over the roof of the house, and they're so close that they could touch the house. But then I'll blank out, and not remember anything. But I'll have dreams of things that happen to me. And I kept that to myself for a long time. And then I realized that a lot of people, they want people to think that it was a dream. They don't want people to know it really happened. But I had dreams of me laying on this metal table and they're doing surgery on my stomach with their hands, but it's not gory, it's not bloody, it's just, I don't know. And then I remember I looked around and I heard them say, "Don't let her look." And then I woke up. Or I'd have dreams of me holding two little boys. A lot I have that dream, but we're in this weird ship or other creepy things. I had one dream where I was in a big ship and there were other women laying next to me and they were doing something with us. I guess maybe taking our eggs. There's this whole hybridization thing. I don't know a lot about it, but it seems to be a common dream that people have, women have.
So it's something that kind of like they were doing a procedure that involved, like, I don't know what's a good way to, a gyno visit, maybe.
Yeah.
Something similar to that,
But it's true. I mean, 20 some years ago, I used to date a guy in Florida and I would go through the airport and I would always set off the metal detector. And finally, I'm like, "Can I look at what you're looking at?" And on my left outer thigh, it's this little metal piece, I guess. It's the size of a piece of rice. And it's still there. I went to Vegas last year with Bob, my boyfriend. It's still there. It hasn't moved. I don't have a scar there. I never fell there. I never had surgery there. And when I started talking about this a year and a half ago, many people also said they have something the size of a piece of rice too. Some of them the same spot as me.
This is the thing, and okay, the thing that I find interesting about this is like there's so many people that tell the same thing, and there's been cases where they've had it taken out, and the doctor's like, "I don't know what this is, what this could be." This is the thing that blows my mind, though, and why did I don't understand why they would need to do that. What do you think the point is at? Is it something where is it like debris or they've left something behind? Because, I mean, apparently they don't need an actual tangible tracking device. Right. If they can hack your consciousness or your dreams or your sleep, they don't need that. But it's trying to make sense of, but there has to be something because so many people who have this experience find something embedded in the, you know what I mean?
I think it's to monitor. That's part of my feeling. I might be somebody's pet and they just put it in me. If I get lost, they'll find. I mean, I don't know. But I think it's to keep track of certain bloodlines. That's my opinion. I'm O negative. A lot of O negative people that I've spoken with that have implants, there's no proof, but I think it's certain types of people that they like to keep track of. And also, my boyfriend is retired CIA and he talks a lot about my labs. I don't know much about it, but it's government working with certain aliens and they do implant people quite often and do testing on them. So.
Wow, that is nuts that he was
creepy.
CIA. That's the stories. We're going to have to get him on here. So
yeah.
Well, we've got our first question from one of our favorite viewers in the entire world, Live Light. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's the famous Live Light here. All right, and she has got a question here for you, Lala. Hi, Lala. You have worked with many people as a medium and seen many things. Is there a common theme or message from the other side? What do the interdimensionals want us to know or learn?
The most common thing I get is they're saying sorry for something and that they love them. So now, like a family member, now that they've passed, they can kind of see everything and how they affected people. Whether they meant to or not, that's a common thing. And for interdimensionals, the common thing is that we need to get out of our ego so that we can help. They can help us, but we need to help them. I'm not exactly sure what, but that's what we're working on, to speak more with them. They want us to unite with each other and them. I kind of have a feeling that they're trying to get us unstuck, or there's something here that doesn't want us to realize just who we are and the real world around us. So we're very dumbed down, we're very numbed, and I think there's some type of universal law that, so they can't just show up in our backyard and say, hey, we're here to help you. They kind of have to do in soft disclosure with certain people around the world. And I think that's what they're trying to, like, to unite us again.
I hope that's the case.
Not all of them. Some of them are not good, but most of them I've experienced are good. So.
And I mean, like, yeah, I've heard like some of them are not good. Some of them, their intentions are good. I think, well, I mean, if you look at human beings as a whole, I mean, you've got some people that say everybody starts off good. I don't know if that's true. I'm a bit cynical when I look at the human race as a whole. We're really gross, and I think we're the worst thing that's ever happened to this planet. So, I mean, so who knows? Hopefully, maybe they could. We've got them here to open our eyes and maybe view things a little differently. Definitely interesting. Great question. Now let's do this, because I've heard this is a common theory, and it seems to be another one of these things. There's more and more of it, more and more proof of it, and it's a little sensitive. It's not an easy topic to talk about, but it seems like almost like the comic book character. Something crazy happens to that character, and now they have these superpowers. So a lot of times, like with your gifts or abilities that you have, there's also trauma somewhere in your life that has maybe enhanced your abilities to do certain things, or what. Have you experienced anything like that?
Yeah, a couple years ago, I lost my dad, and then a couple months later, my mom was murdered. Then a year later, I found my boyfriend dead on the couch from cancer. And then last year, my best friend passed. So quite a bit. And honestly, I really didn't have anybody to go to or talk to, or, everybody passed that I loved, because I'm quiet. I kind of stick to myself. But these energy beings or aliens, whatever you want to call them, they started coming around more to just preoccupy me. I mean, even if they just looked like a moving star or a weird flash. And after a while, I would talk to them. I said, can you please, I feel really shitty. Can you just preoccupy me? And they started coming around and closer. Every month they get closer and closer. So they helped me with the grieving process. 100%. I do admit that.
And now this was something your mind was opened to this stuff ahead of time, because like you said, your father had kind of, you guys were kind of on the same page.
Yeah.
Now you said your mother though was a skeptic. Did she ever come around to believing?
So yes, but when I was younger, my dad would travel a lot, and I had really bad asthma attacks every once in a while. And so when I had bad asthma, I would sleep in her bed with her. And this one night I was sleeping, I had a really bad asthma attack. I wasn't waking up, and she woke up to hearing footsteps down the hall. And she said she looked over, and there was a woman in a bonnet and a dress putting her hands over me. I stayed asleep, but I started to breathe again, and then the lady disappeared. And that freaked her out. And she wouldn't lie about something like that.
Oh, no.
But she 100% she believed that. But then, she was a little stubborn throughout her life. But at the very end, she started seeing she kept seeing a black dog for some reason. And then she started asking me, like, well, is my mom or dad there? What do they say? Like, she started opening up. And so I would sit with her, and I would tell her, what they would say. It was nice,
That's awesome. And it's funny how you go through changes in life, how your mind does change, how your mind opens, and And I'm a firm believer in, like my parents, both my parents have passed, but I still talk to my parents. They're still around. They're still in spirit. They check in on me. And and it's really difficult to explain, but you understand what I'm saying. It's that experience. And when we talk about like interdimensional beings, okay, I think I don't know. Of course, this is just if I was to take a wild guess, stab. Maybe whenever we do leave this life, we go to another dimension in time, and maybe we're interacting with them through another dimension in time. Maybe the UFOs that we see, and aliens, whatever you want to call them, interdimensional beings, they're just from another dimension as well. And in this big old thing we call reality.
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of where I am on the fence with all this being connected.
Yeah.
So, but that had to be very tough. That had to be very tough for you to deal, with that trauma in your life.
Well, the one good thing is that, what I am speaking to other spirits and beings, it scared me a lot most of my life. I didn't like it. But then when my parents passed, the one thing I'm like, all right, my mom's a New Yorker and she's going to kick somebody's ass on the other side if they mess with me. So it was like comforting in a weird way. I had with grief, I didn't know, but when you're grieving, not everybody, but sometimes bad spirits or beings will mess with you. So it just, I had a lot of that. I had back-to-back death, but there was a lot of really creepy things that started happening around the house. And boxes would pile up on top of each other and block me in the doorway. Water boiled up from the floor. That shouldn't It shouldn't even been water. I woke up to something having sex with me, which I didn't understand, and my legs were closed, which I didn't understand either. I didn't see anything, but I kept all this to myself, which was more traumatizing until a year ago.
What do you think? Okay, because I was thinking about this the other day. Is there good and evil?
Yeah.
Okay, so what makes something? I wonder on that spirit world. What makes it evil? Why is it evil? Is it like a lot of us are taught when it comes to our good and evil, the traditional way is like, it's God or Satan, but maybe not even trying to be Bible related or anything religious related. There's a dark side and there's a light side, but why? I wonder why is that? Because to me, when you look at the things that human beings crave, ultimately, it's one of them. Well, the only good one. You got food, you got sex, you got power, and you got love. But to me, if I was a spirit, I want love, baby. You know what I mean?
Right.
So why would something want to go to evil? Well, you know what I mean? It's just, but I totally agree. I think there's evil spirits out there.
I think power, greed, and I didn't know they could do that until it happened. I had no clue. Now, some people think it could have been a reptilian, alien, because it's common for them to do that to men and women. It could be an incubus, which is a spirit. I don't know exactly, but I'm trying to find out what exactly it is. But I think there's just things around us all the time, good and bad, that we just never see until they have a chance to hop on and mess with you. And I think a lot of it to do is some type of energetic exchange. And I think that's why a lot of them are bad, is they want that power of that energy. It must do something for them,
And see, I can get on board with that too, because just like, another crazy coincidence is like you've got these paranormal investigations when people go on, and it seems like their batteries are always drained.
Right.
There's something always trying to suck the energy out of you.
Right.
And, I have talked about this on some episodes prior, but I had. Wait a minute. I went bye-bye for a minute there for some reason. Are you there, Lala?
Yeah, I'm here.
You with us? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Gotcha. Good deal. But no, I had an experience. I had an experience where I was grabbed one time, and not only grabbed, but I was like yanked. I mean, I was grabbed and then yanked, and
Wow.
not always trust me. It blew my freaking mind, scared the hell out of me. I like I said, I called my wife. I was like, "Come get me, come pick me up." But the wild thing is, it also zapped my energy. I mean,
Okay, yep.
it was crazy. We got another good question right here from Live Light. Do you believe in angels? If yes, how do they differ from aliens or any other dimensional being?
Okay. Now look, I don't know all answers. It's just my opinion. I think I'm very respectful of religions, but I think angels might be some type of interdimensional type of alien species. I think a lot of things in the Bible are actually people witnessing UFOs, or I mean, we got a video and a photo of a cross-shaped UFO. It blew my mind. It came twice on different occasions, and I'm thinking, is this where the cross thing came from? They saw it in the sky and said it was a god. So I think I think what actually has been kind of altered so that I I think religion is more of a controlling thing right now. I think it was different before. Respectfully.
I always find that interesting too, because I think, there's people who have angel, experiences with angels as well. And I think it very well could be another interdimensional type being that they're experiencing. And when you look at the stories of the Bible, you will see, I think very well the things that could have been seen are UFOs or are interdimensional. What we're seeing now, same thing. I'm a big fan of Jesus. I'm not a religious person. I don't label myself as a Christian, but I am a big fan of Jesus.
Right.
And who knows? Jesus may have been from another planet, or from another dimension. There may have been something going on there. I think they were trying to portray the stories they could. Right. A lot of the stories of the Bible. But then also, I'm kind of with you. Also, no offense to anybody if that is your religion. No offense at all. But that's about as far as I go with it.
Yeah, I grew up Catholic. I went to Catholic school all my school life. But I think angels can come to us in different ways that would comfort us, so that we aren't scared. So
and maybe it's the good dimensional beings. It's
right.
the good, and that's coming to comfort people.
Yes. But yes, I do believe in angels, just a little different. That's all.
Absolutely, you could totally label it as angels. I could totally do that.
Yeah.
Well, let's do this. What about like exorcisms? What do you think about because this is the two schools of thought, the two big theories. When people do talk about, based on what I've studied, is like when people talk about abductions. Like I had a neurosurgeon on here a few episodes back, and we talked about sleep paralysis. And like whenever people do experience, alien abductions, or also this is classic too, the classic demon setting on your chest,
right? Because
it's either normally it's either an alien abduction or a demon sitting in your chest, are the two main experiences that everybody has.
Right.
And this was my point that I was trying to make to him, is that in this reality, in this physical reality, you are having sleep paralysis. That is what's physically going on with the body. But on your conscious reality and this other reality that we all have, there's something else going on. Because it's crazy that for some reason it's either a demonic being or it's aliens. And that's what it is. So have you experienced somebody with an exorcism, somebody that may have been possessed by the dark side of the interdimensional side?
All right. Well, I haven't seen somebody, but I personally went through something after I don't really talk about it because I feel like I sound crazy, but
You're on beyond the tinfoil hat, Lala. No crazy here. Trust me.
So a couple months before my dad passed from a weird accident in his room, their neighbor had shot himself in the head and died, right? It's just weird things started happening. And then my dad passed, and I went to their house in Florida to help my mom because she was super smart, but she was physically handicapped. So I went there to help. And the just weird thing, like the cat would growl at me and try to attack me, and I'm thinking, do they see something around me, or is something wrong with them? And then one night I slept on her couch, so if she needed help, I could help her in her bedroom. So I was sleeping, and the next day I called my best friend, and she sounded scared of me. I said, well, what's wrong? She goes, you called me in the middle of the night, but it wasn't your voice. It was a growly man voice cussing me out. And I looked at my phone, and I had called her, but I don't remember calling her. It scared me, and it scared her. Yeah. And just one time I blacked out, and I came to, and it looked like I was seeing through like a tunnel, but I was talking and doing stuff, but I had zero control. It was the scariest thing this happened after my dad passed, and a lot of other creepy stuff happened. So that terrified me. And then, waking up something being inappropriate to me. So I think something was messing with everybody close to me. Sometimes it would kill it, or whatever, One time I had a guy friend over, and we both woke up from the same nightmare of a snake trying to get us. And the snake is something that's common throughout this whole thing. I don't know what the hell it is with the snakes and the dreams, but maybe it's a representation of like evil. I don't know. There's my boyfriend, by the way, Science Bob.
Well, there we go. We'll come back. We'll talk about the snake, but let's get a question from Science Bob, which I love science too, Bob. Big fan of science. Has Lala ever seen a triangle UFO?
That's my retired CIA boyfriend, by the way.
Oh, it is? Yeah. Awesome.
He's in another room. Yeah, so I have woken up. We took pictures of it, and Grant Cameron talked about it at an event he went to. But before that happened, the action out back or around the house amps up quite a bit. It's very active with crafts or weird orbs.
So this happened at your house?
Yeah.
And how long ago was this?
This is probably like maybe 6 months ago this happened.
Oh, so this is very recent.
Yeah, this happens a lot in my life. I have weird bruises.
That's so crazy because I swear to God, dude. I swear to God, since I've been more and more involved, and I experience more stuff. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? But, well, okay, so 6 months ago, you saw this in your backyard is what you're saying, correct?
Yeah, whenever I do wake up with a weird bruise, there's more UFO or orb activity. And then when I wake up with a bruise, it slows down for a couple months outside. And
so when you wake up with weird bruises, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, when I do have a bruise, they always kind of warn me, and they get more active, and our cameras pick up more activity. And then after I get the bruise, the activity kind of settles a little bit. So then I know when they're coming, when the activity starts ramping up again, So
you kind of wake up to these things to have it. Is that what you're saying?
No.
No, what? Okay, I want to make sure I'm on the right page. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm dumb. Let's go slow. I'm from Tennessee, mama. So when you said when you wake up with bruises, like something has harmed you, sort of, and there's going to be activity coming. There's going to be something happening.
Okay, so before I wake up with a bruise, we'll have a lot of videos outside our home of orbs or crafts or strange lights, like more than usual.
Okay.
And when this happens, that's around the time they must do an abduction with me, and then I'll wake up with a bruise.
Gotcha.
And then
So 6 months ago, you guys were picking up some activity there around your house.
Yeah.
And you went out. You guys went out. Was this at night during the day when you saw the triangle UFO?
The triangle brute. Well, where we live, we don't have to do anything but go out in our backyard. They literally come to us. It's crazy. But I woke up. It's cool, but I woke up with a triangle-shaped bruise on my arm, and he got a video of a triangle craft with his personal camera around the same time. So I don't know if they're the ones that did it. I'm not really sure.
Now, do you think it's because, because you said that they come to you guys. Well, first of all, you guys are kind of like a power couple. You know, I mean, move over, Taylor and Travis Cleese. We got Lala and Science Bob. All right, we've got the CIA. So seriously, if I was wanting to come visit somebody's house, I was like, holy hell, let's go to this psychic and the CIA's house. So do you think that might be the reason why, or just because? But also, let's be honest. I think some people are more sensitive to seeing these things than others. Like I said, the more you open your mind, and that may be the real case, what's going on here. But so you guys just walk outside, and it's like feeding the hummingbirds, feeding the squirrels.
It really is true. But I talk to them too, which I kind of call them. So
okay. So is this kind of what you did with the triangle, the UFO?
I don't know what that is. I don't like that personally. I'd rather if they didn't do that. But I guess maybe it's part of the implant. Maybe people with implants get abducted more. I don't remember being abducted in this particular situation. I also, a couple months ago, before that, I woke up with 2 round bruises right next to each other, and in each center was a white dot. It was weird, just weird. And it went away in like 3 days, which is unusual for me.
So, okay, can you kind of explain maybe for the people watching kind of like what the UFO looked like, kind of how that day went, what you were seeing and stuff, just kind of take them down memory road a little bit?
Well, we have different shaped ones. A lot of times it'll look like a flash in the sky, right? And we'll get it on video, and then I'll slow it down and zoom in. And I didn't realize how many different shaped crafts there are. I really didn't. I should have sent you a picture. Anyway, I'll send it to you. There was one that looked like a rib cage with like a light ball attached to a metal arm. And this thing was huge. It was just insane. And there's one where it looks like a little C with a dot, and I was about to throw that away. I didn't really think much of it, but I posted it anyway. And come to find out, Jimmy Blanchett, he's very, very important in this field, he got the same craft a year earlier. And
okay, well, I tell you what, I love to hear that. That's very interesting because, like I said, there's connections which helps validate things. You know what I mean? I tell you what, Lala, let's do this. We got to cut to a commercial break, give a shout out to some sponsors and some stuff. And when we come back, I want to pick up where we left off.
Okay.
Have you ever wondered, or maybe just thought to yourself, if there were others just like you, You know, people with extraordinary abilities, psychogenic advancement, and perhaps unique intuitions. Maybe you just wondered if there were other people who experienced unimaginable, unexplained, or even unusual and paranormal events. Are there people who have more questions, more fears than answers? Well, you're not alone. You've never been alone. We believe you. Sign up for EA today.
Business. It's your property. Your assets are worth protecting. Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services specializes in patrolling and inspecting residential or commercial property against fire, theft, vandalism, terrorism, and illegal activity. People and buildings are monitored to prevent crime. Keep your property, your people, and your assets safe from threat. Our elite staff are dual licensed private investigators and security guards. Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services. Go to blacklightiss.com.
All right, welcome back to Beyond the TinFoil Hat. And if you're just now tuning in, we are here with psychic medium Lala Bright. I tell you what, Lala, right before we cut to the break, you were on an interesting topic, different shapes and sizes. One that was very interesting that was just, it's in the media right now, is the jellyfish type looking UFO. You've seen that thing, right?
Bob got that on one of his cameras, and it was lighting up with different colors. It was crazy.
See, that is so, and I mean, and to me, I'm like, what? As crazy as it does look, we can't make really a lot of sense of it in our world, but maybe in their world, that's what crap looks like. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just wild. But who was the other guy you were talking about? You said his name was Bob?
Jimmy Blanchard.
Jimmy Blanchard. Sorry, that's Science Bob. All right,
that's
Science
Bob McGuire. Yeah.
But Jimmy Blanchard, he had picked up something very similar to what you saw.
He's amazing. He's been doing this a long time. He's on Facebook. I suggest whoever is listening, look him up. He makes contact with them, and he found it's identical. It's the same craft, and it's a very peculiar shaped craft. So that's what's even more interesting.
Now, like, we had mentioned, your boyfriend, Bob, him being involved in having, history with the CIA. What you hear the theory that are some of these crafts ours and some of them are not, which would totally make sense, would totally be the human being thing to do. is to, reverse engineer something, try to figure out how it works. That's what we do.
Right.
How many of these crafts that's flying around that's getting picked up on camera and stuff is ours?
From what I hear, and I don't know, it's what I hear, quite a few. And I know they've gotten it down pretty well, and they've had this information for a while. I have a friend, John Carpenter, who worked under Bigelow.
Okay.
And I know the big thing now is portals. So we can now make portals. And they want to learn more about that. So we can shift into other realms, I guess. And that's, I think this all started with go ahead, sorry.
What this is something that I was wondering is, okay, it seems like the government has used, the United States government has used this loophole of, and they've always used outside contractors to do dirty work. I mean, that's nothing new. But do you think they're using these private companies to do a lot of this reverse engineering on these crafts? That way, and then on the accounting method, whenever they ask for money on a military budget, they can have this private company overcharge for a certain service just to get the extra money that they need. Oh, yeah. I mean, when you're trying to trace everything. So, do you think these private companies though are the ones that are putting that know this stuff? That way, the government could be like, "Oh, we don't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
We're dumb. We don't have nothing." That way that they don't have to answer questions to the people, whereas a private company don't have to answer anything.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that, in my opinion, I think that's what's going on a lot. But, a very common story that all of us are very aware of is like the Roswell incident. Is this where they picked up the craft, or did they discover an archaeological find and this is where they discovered the craft? And there's a lot of stories floating around out there to where we made contact, where the CIA had made contact with these beings and learned about the other races of beings and whatnot out there. So basically what I'm saying though is, in your house there's, you got somebody with a CIA background. How do you feel about any of those popular theories and stories that float around in our community? You think they're true?
I believe they're true. I believe there are, side businesses that probably don't even, okay, let me think what I'm going to say for a second. Okay.
Gotcha. Because I went around a bunch of places there. Sorry about that. But.
I think a lot of times they have people working on these things separately. So a group of people have to make this certain thing, another group, and neither one knows what they're making. So they don't tell them exactly what's going on, the workers. I think the people in charge know what's going on. And then I think there's a handful of people that are creating these ships that do know information. I think a lot of them are underground military bases. I think most of it is underground where they make stuff, actually. And also, here's a conspiracy. I think it's strange that none of the governments can get along except in Antarctica. They all get together sometimes peacefully, which is kind of weird, in my opinion. And we're not allowed to go there. So I think what's going on there.
The Antarctica thing is getting a lot of heat. Mm-hmm. And it's gotten very popular. And it seems, it's popping up everywhere, and you'll hear there's pyramids in Antarctica. There's, this and that, and they're doing these studies and stuff. And who knows? Hell, they could be. We wouldn't know it,
There's one other thing. I know before I lived here, I lived next to a military. I lived next to Lockheed Martin? It's called, and then another military base where they had airplanes going in and out. And I think it was a cover, because I saw quite a few big orbs following planes in and out, or if the orbs got out, there would be military helicopters following these orbs, and inside the helicopter was like a bolted down, it looked like a bazooka, I don't know, but it was bolted down. It didn't shoot anything out that I saw, but I got so close. I started following them around because it was near my house, and the helicopter got so close to my car that it pushed my car off the road. And I didn't know that crafts could turn into these light things. They look like orbs. I don't know what they are. But I remember when I was driving to Florida, I stopped at Georgia, and a man that worked at a hotel, an older man, he had worked at this particular base that I used to live next to. And he said that him and his wife, they were testing there. They both got cancer. She passed. He survived, retired. But he said behind that base is a man-made island which aligns with a star. And he winked at me. And then I knew it all made sense. There's some type of beings there that I don't know if they invite or I don't know what they do, but I think it's a cover for that for aliens or something,
Interesting. Now, this is also, I find interesting. Did you go looking for that, or did that guy just kind of just pop up that information?
I was like half asleep and I was just talking and joking, and I was like, yeah, I live next to whatever it's called. And I was like, and I bet you they have aliens there. And he looked at me, he's like, actually. And I was like, oh shit. Wow. So, but it makes sense. So I think a lot of military bases around neighborhoods do a lot of testing that give people cancer, but I think they have a lot of alien activity as well. And I think they create crafts there too. Allegedly, I don't want to die.
Allegedly. I don't think they're going to come sue us. So,
no Men in Black show up. No, thank you.
If the Men in Black show up, dude, I would love. Listen, Men in Black, if you're watching, come to my house, Danny Whitson. I'm going to show you some cool card tricks. I'll tell you some good fart jokes. You're going to love me. So we'll have a good time. I think we got another question. I think Liv Light, you got a question for us? Liv, can we get Liv's question up on the screen? Because I think it's a good one. Let's get Liv always gives us some good ones. Let's get this question up on the screen. Here we go. By our famous Liv Light. Do you think the government is keeping tabs on psychics, mediums, experiencers, or anyone associated with other dimensions? Has Lala ever had interactions with the military? Not Science Bob, though. Okay, we don't want to know about those interactions with you and Science Bobby, but the other ones we do need to know about.
I do think they keep tabs on certain people. I think the people that have implants are monitored by the military or something.
Oh my God, I did not think about that. I did not put 2 and 2 together on that. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, and I remember after the whole helicopter blew me off the road thing, my phone acted really strange from after that. And it scared me. So I turned it off, turn it back on. And from then on, every time I had to drive past this place every day, right? Whenever I drove past it, my phone would like wig out every time. It would just get like staticky I don't remember, but it was just weird whenever I drove past this place. So I think, and I think they do know who's psychic. I've heard they keep track of people with O negative bloodlines, I've had doctors tell me don't donate your blood because they will not only keep bugging you, but other things not pleasant will keep happening. So a lot of people believe in gang stalking. I don't like looking that stuff up because I don't want to freak out.
Gang stalking.
Yeah, it's where they think people that have either had, abductions or are O negative blood or Rh negative, they are stalked by government, but don't even know until they start acting up or trying to find answers.